The notion that success is rooted in consistency rather than luck, talent, or fleeting bursts of motivation is a profound truth that reshapes how we approach our goals. Consistency, the quiet yet relentless act of showing up every day, regardless of circumstances or emotions, is the bedrock upon which lasting achievements are built. Unlike luck, which is unpredictable, or talent, which can be squandered, consistency is a choice, a skill honed through deliberate practice and unwavering commitment. It is the force that transforms dreams into reality, not through dramatic leaps, but through steady, incremental steps taken with purpose. This principle, often overlooked in a world obsessed with quick fixes and overnight success, holds the key to unlocking one's potential and surpassing even those who may seem more gifted or fortunate. To understand why consistency trumps all else, we must explore its essence, its challenges, its transformative power, and how it can be cultivated in our daily lives. At its core, consistency is about persistence, the ability to keep going when the initial excitement fades, when obstacles arise, or when the world offers no immediate rewards. It is not about being perfect or maintaining an unrelenting pace, but about showing up day after day to do the work required. Consider the metaphor of a river carving a canyon. The water does not achieve its feet through sudden force, but through years of steady flow, eroding stone bit by bit. Similarly, consistent effort, no matter how small, accumulates over time to produce results that seem almost miraculous to those who only see the end product. This is why consistency is often described as a secret of successful people, from athletes to artists to entrepreneurs. They are not necessarily smarter, stronger, or luckier. They are simply the ones who refuse to stop. The power of consistency lies in its ability to build momentum. Each action, however modest, is a step forward, a brick laid in the foundation of your future. When you commit to writing a single page each day, you may not have a novel by the end of the week, but in a year, you'll have 365 pages, a manuscript. When you dedicate 10 minutes daily to exercise, you may not transform your body overnight, but over months, you'll notice strength and vitality you didn't have before. This compounding effect is what makes consistency so potent. It turns small, seemingly insignificant efforts into substantial outcomes. Unlike motivation, which ebbs and flows like the tide, consistency is a steady force that doesn't rely on how you feel. It thrives on commitment, on the decision to act even when you're tired, uninspired, or doubtful. Yet, consistency is not without its challenges. Staying committed every day is hard, especially in a world filled with distractions, responsibilities, and unexpected setbacks. There are mornings when the alarm rings, and the thought of getting out of bed feels insurmountable. There are days when work piles up, relationships demand attention, or life throws curveballs that derail your plans. In these moments, the temptation to skip a day, to postpone your efforts, is overwhelming. This is where consistency separates those who succeed from those who falter. The successful don't wait for perfect conditions. They act despite the chaos. They understand that missing one day can easily turn into 2, then a week, then a month, until the goal is abandoned altogether. To be consistent, you must train yourself to push through these moments of resistance, to prioritize your long-term vision over short-term discomfort. Resistance, in fact, is one of the greatest enemies of consistency. It manifests as procrastination, self-doubt, or the seductive whisper that tomorrow will be better. Resistance is not a one-time event, but a recurring force that appears whenever you strive for something meaningful. It's the voice that tells you you're not ready, that you need more preparation, or that you're too tired to start. Overcoming resistance requires a shift in mindset. You don't need to feel ready to act. You just need to act. Starting small is often the antidote. If writing a chapter feels daunting, write a paragraph. If running a mile seems impossible, walk for 5 minutes. These small actions lower the barrier to entry, making it easier to begin. And once you begin, you often find that the momentum carries you further than you expected. Consistency is built in these small victories, in the moments when you choose action over inaction. Another challenge to consistency is the myth of motivation. Many people believe they need to feel motivated to act, but this is a trap. Motivation is fleeting, like a spark that ignites quickly and fades just as fast. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for the wind to blow before setting sail. you may be stuck at shore forever. Successful people don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline, the ability to do what needs to be done regardless of their mood. Discipline is the bridge between wanting something and achieving it. It's what gets you out of bed on a cold morning, what keeps you writing when the words don't flow, what pushes you to study when you'd rather scroll through your phone. Consistency is the practice of discipline, the daily choice to honor your commitments to yourself. This brings us to the transformative power of consistency. It builds self-trust. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, whether it's to exercise, to work on your craft, or to learn something new, you prove that you are reliable. This self-trust is a quiet but powerful force. It changes how you see yourself, shifting your identity from someone who tries to someone who does. When you trust yourself to follow through, you no longer need external validation or encouragement. You become your own motivator, your own cheerleader. This self-reliance is liberating. It frees you from the cycle of starting and stopping, of chasing inspiration only to lose steam. With self-trust, you know that even on your worst days, you'll show up because that's who you are. Consistency also rewires your brain, creating habits that make action automatic. When you repeat an action daily, it becomes ingrained, like brushing your teeth or driving a familiar route. Neuroscientists call this the formation of neural pathways, patterns in the brain that make certain behaviors easier over time. At first, showing up every day requires effort, conscious decision-making, and willpower. But as you persist, the action becomes second nature. You no longer need to psych yourself up to write, exercise, or study. You just do it. This is why consistency is so powerful. It transforms effort into instinct. It makes success not a matter of willpower, but a matter of who you become. To cultivate consistency, start small. Grand gestures and ambitious resolutions often lead to burnout. Instead, choose one small action you can commit to daily, something so easy you can't fail. If you want to read more, start with 5 pages a day. If you want to get fit, do 1 push-up. These small actions may seem trivial, but they serve a greater purpose. They build a habit of showing up. Once the habit is established, you can increase the intensity or add new actions. The key is to make consistency sustainable, to create a rhythm you can maintain even on your busiest or worst days. This approach lowers the mental resistance that often derails progress and sets you up for long-term success. Another strategy is to create systems that support your consistency. Systems are the structures that make action easier, reducing reliance on willpower. For example, if you want to write daily, set a specific time and place for writing, eliminate distractions, and keep your notebook or laptop ready. If you want to exercise daily, lay out your workout clothes the night before and schedule a fixed time for exercise. These small adjustments to your environment make it harder to skip a day and easier to follow through. Systems also include accountability, telling a friend about your goal, tracking your progress in a journal, or using an app to mark your streaks. These tools reinforce your commitment and keep you on track. Your environment plays a crucial role in sustaining consistency. A cluttered, distracting space can undermine your efforts, while a clean, intentional space invites focus. Surround yourself with people who support your goals, who inspire you to keep going rather than drag you down. Be selective about the media you consume, books, podcasts, and videos that reinforce your commitment rather than feed doubt or distraction. Your environment is like the soil in which your habits grow. Make it fertile and consistency will thrive. It's also important to embrace imperfection. Consistency doesn't mean never missing a day or always performing at your best. Life is unpredictable, and there will be days when you falter. What matters is how quickly you return to your routine. Missing one day doesn't ruin your progress, but letting one day turn into a week does. When you slip, forgive yourself and start again. This resilience is part of consistency, the ability to get back on track without being derailed by guilt or self-criticism. The goal is progress, not perfection. Consistency also requires a long-term perspective. Results don't come overnight, and the lack of immediate rewards can be discouraging. This is where faith in the process comes in. Trust that every small action is moving you closer to your goal, even if you can't see it yet. Like a seed planted in the ground, your efforts are taking root beneath the surface, preparing to break through when the time is right. Successful people understand this. They don't measure their progress by daily wins, but by the trajectory of their efforts over weeks, months, and years. This patience, coupled with persistent action, is what sets them apart. The beauty of consistency is that it's accessible to everyone. You don't need extraordinary talent, vast resources, or perfect circumstances to be consistent. It's a democratic principle. Anyone who chooses to show up daily can harness its power. This levels the playing field, allowing ordinary people to achieve extraordinary results. History is full of examples. Writers who published novels by writing one page a day, athletes who reached the top by training daily, entrepreneurs who built empires through steady effort. These stories remind us that success is not reserved for the gifted few, but for those who persist. Consistency also fosters resilience. When you commit to showing up every day, you learn to weather life's storms. You develop mental toughness, the ability to keep going when others would quit. This resilience spills over into other areas of your life, making you better equipped to handle challenges, setbacks, and uncertainty. It's not about avoiding difficulties, but about building the strength to move through them. Each time you choose consistency over surrender, you forge a stronger, more capable version of yourself. Moreover, consistency aligns your actions with your identity. When you show up daily, you're not just working toward a goal. You're becoming the kind of person who achieves goals. This shift in identity is profound. Instead of saying, I want to be a writer, you say, I am a writer because I write every day. Instead of saying, I want to be fit, you say, I am fit because I exercise daily. This alignment between action and identity creates a self-reinforcing cycle. Your actions shape who you are, and who you are drives your actions. Over time, consistency becomes not just something you do, but who you are. In a world that celebrates quick wins and instant gratification, consistency is a radical act. It requires patience, discipline, and a willingness to prioritize the long game over short-term comfort. But the rewards are worth it. Consistency transforms not just your results, but your entire life. It builds confidence, resilience, and a sense of purpose. It turns dreams into realities, one small step at a time. It proves that you don't need to be extraordinary to achieve extraordinary things. You just need to keep showing up. To embrace consistency, start today. Choose one small action that aligns with your goals and commit to doing it daily. Make it so simple you can't fail. Create a system to support your efforts. Design an environment that encourages action, and surround yourself with people who lift you up. When resistance arises, push through a single step. When you falter, return to routine without judgment. Trust that each action, no matter how small, is building something greater. Over time, you'll look back and realize that consistency was a key, not because it was flashy or dramatic, but because it was steady, reliable, and true. In conclusion, consistency is a cornerstone of success because it harnesses the power of small, repeated actions to create lasting change. It doesn't depend on luck, talent, or motivation, but on the simple choice to show up every day. It builds momentum, self-trust, and resilience, transforming not just your results, but who you are. While the path of consistency is not always easy, it is always certain. It is the quiet force that carries you further than any burst of inspiration ever could. By embracing consistency, you reclaim your power to shape your future, proving that success is not a gift bestowed on the fortunate, but a reward earned by those who persist. So, start now, take one step, and keep going. The life you want is waiting on the other side of your next consistent action.